Hi, friends, and welcome back to another episode of Chapters of Motherhood podcast. Today, we're joined by Samantha Davis, the owner of Mommy Made SoCal brand. Welcome, Samantha.
Great. Thank you so much for having me. I am very excited to connect with your community.
I'm very excited for you to explain and tell us all about it. But yeah, this is exciting. It's an exciting topic for me. But without me doing too much or saying too much, please, Samantha, how are you? How have you been?
Good. Definitely, like everyone, moving through the motions and figuring out this whole motherhood thing and how to run a business. So it's really exciting to be able to come on and share about what we do and the experiences that we've had along the way too. So far, so good.
Okay, great. So why don't you start with telling us what is your motherhood story? Like, how did it all start? Tell us all about it.
Definitely. This is probably one of my favorite questions because it's really such a beautiful thing what stems from or after having a baby. I feel like there's this burst of creative energy that comes even through the tired and the sleepless nights and all of that. There's this need to create and find joy again in something that's just yours. So anyway, I could go on that topic forever. So for me personally, I have one daughter with my husband. She is going on 5 this year. And she was unplanned. We had, just bought our home and we were really excited to start this new chapter. And I think it was 2 months later, we were like, okay, we're doing this. We're having a baby.
Yeah.
And so we had our daughter. And then 4 months later, after I had experienced placenta encapsulation and all of it, all of what it entailed, the process of it, giving birth, all of those different things, I just was fascinated with this concept. And it was funny because I kind of always had been. I remember hearing about it back in high school. I'm 32 now, so it had been a while, but I was really fascinated with the concept of what it could do. Didn't even know I really wanted to have kids, but I was like, if I ever do get pregnant, I'm totally doing this. Yeah. And so I found a friend that lived up in the Bakersfield area. And she was encapsulating placentas. I, trusted her, loved the brand, loved the company that she had just started. And so, I was like, all right, we're doing this. And, experienced it firsthand, what it meant from someone picking up your placenta, telling someone that you're keeping your placenta, all of those different mixed emotions. You're like, okay, like, I don't want to be judged. I don't want to, whatever else kind of comes to mind, but we did it. I did it and loved the experience. And from there, like I said, about 4 months later, I was like, what if we brought that same experience down to the SoCal area? So I connected with Julianne, which is the founder of the Mommy Made Encapsulation brand. And she was amazing. She was like, let's do it. She was very excited to branch out in a way that I think wasn't even something that was top of mind. It was like when you start a business, you don't think that people want to, extend the branch or almost like, you're inspired by the fact that people believe in what you're doing, I think is the bottom line. And so 4 months into postpartum, I was like, hey, Mondo, my husband, let's start a business. Something that that was not our background. We don't have a background in entrepreneurship. Our parents to some extent, yes, but for the most part, it's, you work a 9 to 5 and that's what you do for X amount of years, right? Yeah, exactly. Right. I was going to say, is there even a time frame where that ends?
Yeah.
So, we decided that we were going to go ahead and do this. And we had a really great mentorship through Julianne and we did it. I had my support of my husband. We were working full time while also working to grow this business because it really felt like there wasn't access or easy access to this type of resource in our area. And you think, wow, Los Angeles, we're in the Ontario area.
Right.
But you think, Southern California, there has to be people.
Right.
But as much as we were involved in educating ourselves around pregnancy and birth and all of that, I didn't really find anyone, let alone someone I connected with. So I think that's what prompted the fact that we really felt like this could work because we were looking to bring that same level of transparency, that same level of care, just all around what the brand encompasses to the local community here. And having just given birth myself, and I'm sure you can relate as a mother, you're like inspired to share and do everything you can to support your fellow mother. You're like, let me, if I can make this easier in any possible way, let me do it for you. Yeah. So this was like our way to kind of give back, if you will.
Okay. That's great. Give us a little bit more information on the placenta, the consumption of it. So I know that in my experience, I waited until my 5th baby before I finally became holistic and really starting to question, because I didn't have very good experiences at all in birth, in hospital births at all. Mm-hmm. And this last baby that I was having, I was just scared to death to see a doctor, to go to a hospital, to be checked, anything. I'm like, no one's touching me. I want a midwife. I want a doula. I really started immersing myself into the business of having a baby, which is also a documentary. Have you seen that documentary with, oh gosh, what is her name?
Yes. Mm-hmm. I've watched clips of it while I was pregnant, and it was so impactful.
Yes. Very impactful, very eye-opening, very empowering. And once I started getting immersed into it, I started realizing like, I don't like any of that. And I don't want any of that. And I was scared because I was going to be 41 by the time I had my 5th baby. And I was scared of getting depressed, getting the postpartum depression. And I had it with my 2nd baby, and I was just worried. That was just a worry of mine. And so I started really looking into placenta consumption. And so I had the same thought. I'm like, okay, I want to do this. I'm not going to do it myself. I don't want to touch it gross.
Yeah. I feel you. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And so I'm used to hearing that doulas will come, pick it up, take it for you, and prepare it, and can even turn it into chocolate. I'm like, no, I just want it in a little capsule that I can just swallow.
I've even heard of spaghetti.
Spaghetti too?
Spaghetti sauce, like almost like a bolognese. Yeah, pretty intense. I'm like, oh, good, thanks.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's done, and I'm sure it's been done over the centuries, and it's been fine. And we're just conditioned to think that that's gross, But I believe in the benefits. So for me, I took it in capsule forms, and I also have a tincture. And with the tincture, I noticed that when my baby was starting to have gastrointestinal problems, I gave her like a drop or 2, and it helped. It helped her fast. Like, and I'm talking about my older dog, not the. Well, actually, I did it for both. The baby and then the older one, that she was 2 at the time, and it really helped them. And I'm like, okay, so this helps them. It helped their tummy. It helped the gas. It helped.
Interesting.
It did. It helped a lot. And I moved to Idaho, and I forgot my stuff in California. Oh, but it's stored correctly. So perfect. Yeah, I want to keep it. I definitely want to keep refilling it. I took my capsules, and I felt wonderful. I felt energy. I felt, it was my 5th baby. I was already 41.
Yes.
I had a water birth with her, and I felt incredible taking the placenta. And as soon as I ran out, I was like, oh my gosh,
give me more.
Yeah. So that's why I have that tincture, and I still have a pretty big piece of my own placenta already.
Oh, good.
And so for me, it brought in my milk. It balanced my hormones. It really did help for me. So if you can just speak more on the benefits that you experience and how you want it to help other moms receive the same benefits.
Absolutely. And just to touch on the fact that you did it with your 5th baby, I think that is incredible. It's an incredible testament to the power of your placenta, because you have something to compare it to. I think when you don't, you're kind of like, oh, well, postpartum wasn't that bad, or yeah, it was great, or I didn't, get X, Y, and Z. It's like, well, partially, or it could be due to the placenta bill. So I always love when moms have something to compare it to. I wish every mom did it all the time, for every pregnancy, but on one hand, it's nice that you can really tell the difference for yourself,
Yes. And I really could. Yes.
That it's beautiful. It gives me chills. I love those stories, because your placenta is something your body made just for you. And it's a beautiful resource for a new mom. That, more and more as we progress in our society and what we deem, socially acceptable and all those types of things, I think it's becoming something that moms are like, yes, I have to do that. This is an important resource, just like a doula, just like a midwife, maybe not as intense as delivering an actual baby, but, it is a resource. Mm-hmm. So as far as benefits, right now, a majority of there's very little research that's being put out there for a number of different reasons that I can go into. But where we get a majority of our testimony from is it's all anecdotal. So we've got hundreds of moms that continually express to us how amazing their milk supply was, especially in comparison to previous pregnancies or postpartum experiences. You've got moms that energy is always the number one. They're like, I haven't slept and I have all of this energy. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You've got the more balanced hormones. So you don't have as intense of those emotional ups and downs. You've got things like lessened chance of postpartum depression because of increased iron levels, which help fight fatigue, which help fight postpartum depression. You've got, let me think, I'm thinking of a couple off the top of my head. You've got all of the oxytocin in the placenta as well that helps the uterus contract and return to pre-pregnancy size. Mm-hmm. You've also got things like vitamin B6, vitamin B12, thyroid stimulating hormone, which will help your body return to pre-pregnancy size. So you've got that weight loss factor, which we all kind of love, right? Mm-hmm. After having a baby. So lots of different things that moms have experienced. But I would say just as a takeaway, the majority are going to be increased energy, increased milk supply, and then the lessened chances of postpartum. You've got a lot of moms that have experienced postpartum depression with other pregnancies or recoveries, and they haven't this time around. And they express to us how amazing their capsules are because they don't have to go through that again. That's probably I would say the biggest reason why we chose to do this is because you're already going through so much after having a baby. What your body goes through, what your relationship goes through, the fact that you're solely responsible. Obviously, if you have a partner, things are shared, but you feel this sense of sole responsibility for keeping this tiny little person or persons alive. Mm-hmm. And it's a daunting task. So having a resource or bringing a resource to the table that can help moms avoid things like postpartum depression is key. Just kind of some science to back what we do when you look at the body when it's pregnant. And this kind of helps people who think that like maybe placenta encapsulation is the placebo effect, which even if it is, that's amazing. Sure. Give me the placebo.
True. I mean,
right?
True. Yeah.
Right. But if you look at your body when you're pregnant, right, your placenta takes over for your endocrine system. So all of those hormone producing organs go on like a maternity leave, right, while you're pregnant. And once you deliver the baby, then the placenta comes out. The placenta and all of those hormones, all of that nutrients come out with it. It's not like it kind of leaves some behind. Yeah. So that comes out with it. So your body goes from, say, over the course of your pregnancy, your hormones increase to like a +3. Mm-hmm. When you deliver your baby, you're at like a -3. You're not even at ground zero. You are completely depleted. And it takes about 6 to 8 weeks for your endocrine system to start to reboot itself and for that kind of normal hormone production to come back into play. And so the idea is that your placenta, when turned into capsules, you're able to take a daily regimen over the course of those few weeks to help your body sustain, restabilize as much as possible while your body comes back from that quote maternity leave. Mm-hmm. So there really is, it's a beautiful organ full of hormones. You've got estrogen, progesterone, you've got prolactin, oxytocin, you've got tons of iron. There's so many different components to the placenta that create a better experience physiologically, emotionally, when you're going through so much already. So, right. You've got that type of science behind it that really, when you look at it, makes a lot of sense. And mm-hmm. I know you've mentioned this before, but mammal consumption of the placenta, it's such a dynamic concept too, because we think, oh, well, it's to clean up the birth space. There's lots of different theories about why mammals consume their placenta, to clean up the birthplace, to avoid, predators sniffing out the fact that they have little ones. But when you look at these mammals that have no predators, that are kind of top of the food chain, they're also doing this.
Yes.
So you have to agree that there is something to it, that instinctually primal, as a mammal, that you're kind of inclined to do. So it's a beautiful practice that I 100% believe in, and are just so excited to share with different communities the impact that it can have postpartum.
Yes. And I think you mentioned something that's very important for people to understand. When you are pregnant, you have those hormones. And when you have the baby, it just, like you said, it depletes to negative. And those 4 to 2 to
generally
8 weeks?
6 to 8 weeks is when like that endocrine system will start to kind of come back to life.
Right.
But it takes a while.
And that's the danger zone when you start getting postpartum depression, when you should be happy. Oh, I'm so happy. This is the baby I've been wanting. I did everything for this baby. And you don't have those hormones to support the mom correctly in order to care for the baby. And so, consuming your own placenta, getting those hormones back into your body, having that iron, all that is going to bring you back to help feel somewhat normal, because it takes a while.
Absolutely.
To feel normal after having a baby.
At least a year.
Yeah, exactly.
If not more.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Right, exactly. I'm at 5 years. I'm almost there, I think, maybe.
Yeah. So it's amazing. I thought that the benefits were really, really beneficial, obviously, for me. I wish I would have known about it a long time ago, but when I found out, I spread the word. It's like, people, you need to know that this will help you. Yes, it sounds gross, but there's several different ways to eat it. I've heard people that will cut it up and grill it and season it, and you just eat it like that. Which I'm sure that's a good way to do it, right?
So there's lots of different theories. I'm glad you talked about this, because like you said, placenta encapsulation, placenta consumption, there's lots of different ways to do that are more modernized. If you look at the traditional sense of placenta encapsulation, it dates back 5,000 plus years, right? It's part of traditional Chinese medicine. And when you look back at the original practice of it, it's steaming the placenta and then dehydrating the placenta to grind it up into a powder for capsules. And the reason that we as a brand function that way instead of all of these other different ways that you can do it is because of the precautions that we take for safety. So when you're steaming the placenta, you're heating it to specific temperatures, making it safe despite bacteria, viral infections, to still consume. Because at the end of the day, that's what's going to matter most, is making sure that it's safe to consume. And because, after birth, whether it's in a hospital or a birth center or your home, there is potential for bacterial contamination. So you want to make sure that this is the safest route possible. So with that heated temperature, it allows you to safely consume. In addition to, like I mentioned earlier, having it in a capsule form allows you to daily dose yourself. So you're able to spread out the benefits of your placenta throughout the next few weeks, versus if you were to consume it straight after birth. Like, I know there's things like smoothies, like I mentioned, the spaghetti sauce. There's lots of different ways. Like you mentioned, grilling it. You can, because essentially it's a consumable. It's a piece of meat, but you're then ingesting a large amount of hormones all at once, which could also have some effect. Right. So the fact that you're spreading it out makes it last longer and gives you this kind of even keel over the course of the next few weeks. And we provide like a recommended dosage, so you have something to go off of. Generally, we ask that you increase the dosage to like 2 capsules 3 times a day is what we typically recommend for the first week. The following week, you lessen it by 1. And then the following week after that, it's even lower. So you're gradually reducing the number of capsules so that your body kind of starts to take over, and it can start to facilitate its own hormone production. And the beauty of your capsules, which I love that you touched on this with the tincture, is that they never expire. And they can be used for so many other things aside from postpartum. You've got, when you start your first, when you start your cycle again, if you go back to work, stressful life events, the components in the placenta really help stabilize all of those emotions and feelings that are brought on by hormones. Gotta love those hormones. So there's lots of different things that the placenta can be used for even after those first few weeks. So.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Now, I saw on your Instagram, which if anybody wants to look her up, it's called Mommy Made SoCal on Instagram. And I saw that you are tripled certified. What does that mean?
Yes, great question. So for placenta encapsulation, the industry standard is to have some sort of like OSHA bloodborne pathogen certification, and then a food handler's license. So what we do at Mommy Made, every specialist is certified through OSHA with handling bloodborne pathogens. And that is updated annually, as well as a food handler's license through the County of San Bernardino, which is where we operate, in addition to a placenta preparation certification program called PBUI. And then we continue to be mentored by our certifying board. So that's the 3 certifications, the OSHA, food handlers, and then the placenta preparation.
Okay. So I wouldn't, it's kind of weird to hear the food handling, but I guess that's what it is, because you're consuming it, right?
Right, exactly. Once it leaves the hospital, it's considered a consumable. So just like a piece of meat, a piece of meat.
Milk,
that's why milk, you name it. But I think as a brand, we decided to kind of take the industry to the next level. Okay. So we have taken the idea of placenta encapsulation, which feels very much like behind closed doors, like not something you share. It's, sometimes there's like videos on YouTube, some strange things on there that can show a little bit of the process. But what we decided to do as a brand is eliminate that behind closed doors concept. Okay. So we record every single placenta encapsulation process. We show you where it's being done, how it's being done. There's the label for each mom that follows every step of the process. And we put together a video for each mother to view herself. So she can feel like, 1, it was done in a clean and sanitary space. 2, that it's her placenta, because you can see, again, that name that follows each process. So really trying to eliminate the stigma of placenta encapsulation and make it feel like something that just naturally should be done. So when you say, right, like a food handler's license, like what we do as a brand is we have dedicated workspaces. We've got stainless steel countertops. We've got food grade plastics. We use medical grade decontaminants, food grade sanitizers, and we have strict critical control points within our process to eliminate any type of confusion with the placenta, any type of contamination, and so forth. So it's a very sterile, very streamlined process that we use that has allowed us to encapsulate for over 15,000 mommies to date. So It's been a wild, wild ride. And we have really, I feel like, shifted the dynamic with placenta encapsulation and bringing it more to light and becoming kind of like a household name. Like this is what you do, just like, a doula, just like an OB, just like a midwife, like normalizing it. So that's probably the best word.
So if I'm hearing it correctly, you've taken the mystery out of it and provided full transparency. So we can see it's like, okay, that came from my body. That's my name. I recognize it, because every placenta is unique. Right. My understanding is pretty unique, and you can tell whose is whose. And some are beautiful, some are not. Some have more calcium in it, some have a lot less. And I did understand that when you're pregnant and you get this heartburn, you really shouldn't consume Tums because it can affect the placenta, right?
Yes, I've never actually had someone understand that concept. Right. The calcification of the placenta can come from Tums. It can also come after about 40 weeks, the placenta starts to calcify as well. But all that means is that and I have a video on our platform too, is you'll see white calcification on the maternal side of the placenta. So the placenta side that's attached to mom's uterus. And it's not bad. It's nothing is wrong with your placenta. But when it is encapsulated, those calcified pieces won't grind up. So they'll be like hard chunks. But other than that, yeah, but it really is interesting that the Tums consumption for heartburn relief does cause calcification.
Yeah. Well, what I've learned is you take papaya enzymes. So if anybody's pregnant and they're having problems with, heartburn, you can take papaya enzymes and it works just as fine. And it's more natural. It's more organic. Yeah.
Interesting. I remember having, it doesn't affect the placenta. That's a really good tip. I remember having tons of heartburn just right before I found out I was pregnant. I was like, am I just getting what's going on with me? This is weird. But yeah, that's a great tip. I'll have to share that.
Yeah. So yeah, very interesting. And then, so right now you're a brand right now, you kind of, so it's kind of like a franchise. It's your own branch. And right now you're just servicing Southern California, LA, Orange County, Riverside, San Diego.
Yes. So the way we like to describe it is we're a network of placenta encapsulation specialists that work under the Mommy Made brand that was founded by Julianne Corona up in Bakersfield. And we've got now about 5 to 6 locations nationwide. But we are able to service nationwide through our UPS shipping contract.
Oh, I was going to ask.
Oh, okay. Yes. We have hundreds of moms a month that will encapsulate that way. So we send them out a really beautiful cooler, shipping kit, instructions, everything they need to know. They take that to the hospital, they freeze it, and then they ship it back to us.
That's awesome. That is awesome because there's a lot of people that just don't even know where to go, where to have, who to ask, how to do it. And if you can provide that, that is amazing.
Yeah, we've definitely tried to make this or worked to make this the most easy and accessible form of encapsulation, or the easiest way to find an encapsulator. So I own and operate the Southern California branch, which, like you said, we service Los Angeles County, Orange County, and the Inland Empire. We don't go as far as San Diego because it does require, picking up the placenta within a certain period of time and things like that. So just to facilitate transporting, we've solidified those 3 counties. But like I said, we do ship nationwide.
Okay, that's really good. Let me ask you this. So do you physically yourself go to the hospital or birth center?
Yes. So in the
I'm
beginning,
interested in all this. So
I love it. The first 2 years, my husband and I did all of the collections, all of the encapsulating. We did everything while having a brand new baby and working full time. So it was quite the ride until we found some pretty incredible people that have joined our team since that either have found through working with us or have already had a passion for whether it's pregnancy, postpartum, motherhood. So it's really incredible, the group of people that we have on board. They're definitely my dream team. But we have about 4 different transporters now that do the physical collecting of the placentas. And we have 2 encapsulators, which do all of the actual encapsulating of the placenta. And then we have an admin team that takes care of all of the reservations, answering questions, because we are on call 24/7, 365 days a year, because babies don't wait.
Yeah. They're born
on, wait.
Yes.
Yes. They're born on New Year's. They're born on Christmas. They're born on Valentine's Day. They don't respect
any holidays or anniversaries.
No.
Special dates.
Absolutely not. Absolutely. So we definitely have built a team that's flexible and able to work in that capacity. But What was your question? Because I think I didn't answer.
I wanted one like quick little story because I just think they're interesting.
Yes. So basically, what it looks like is the mom will reach out to us and let us know she's in labor. And we will put her on an on-call list, and we're actively, involved in her experience. We're available for questions, concerns. She knows that we're virtually by her side the whole time. Okay. And so when she has the baby and then the placenta comes out, the hospital will give her the placenta back. So they'll release it directly to the patient. And then the patient contacts us again and says, "Hi, I have my placenta." And then we head out. My favorite story, I think, and it's not even, nothing is too dramatic when we do, collections. We're in and out fairly quickly. But I had one mom, this is probably our second year in business. So I head out, it was Kaiser Fontana. I head out to the hospital. I head up to labor and delivery pre-COVID. Now there's lots of different restrictions. Right. But I head up to the room and mom is getting sewed up, spread eagle, just right there on the table. And she's like, "The placenta's right there. There you go. Thank you so much. Like, okay. Appreciate it." I was definitely, at first I was like, "Oh, should I be in here? Oh no, did I do something wrong? Oh no." And she was so just sweet and kind, like nothing was going on. And it was one of those aha moments where I was like, this is a beautiful experience for a transporter to have insight into, because this is the most raw and real experience any parent, any woman will have to give birth. To give birth to a baby is the most transformative, and to have a front row seat to that is pretty incredible and pretty special. So after the shock of, whoa, what just happened? I was like, wow, women trust us to, like I said, have a front row seat to this experience. You're fine. No, I was like, wait, oh no, should I talk? Should I stop?
Sorry. Yeah. Thank you.
But yeah, that was a really beautiful moment for me, as funny as it sounds. But really has allowed me to convey that same idea to anyone that comes on board, especially our transporters, that you get, a firsthand look at that first hour most of the time that a parent has, or that a family is experiencing with their newest addition. So yes. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. I can only imagine how special that must be, because that's that golden hour where you're just so like, oh my gosh, I did it. I'm out of pain. Right. I got my baby. I got my prize. You're open, they're sewing, they're doing things down there. And you're like, yeah, the placenta's over there somewhere. Find it.
I don't know. Exactly.
But I do. I love birth. I love pregnancy. I love birth. And finding out about placenta consumption was something that was very eye-opening for me. And like I said, as soon as I found out, I started spreading the word, and I started telling my cousins that, because for some reason, I don't know what was going on in my family. Maybe we decided that we didn't like TV during a year, but everybody was pregnant. Oh
my gosh, I love it.
5 years ago, when I was pregnant with my last baby, all my cousins were pregnant. Their wives were pregnant. We were all pregnant. We had like 9 kids in 1 year.
Wow.
Yeah. I think it was 9. Or was
That's amazing.
It was a lot. I think it might have been 9 girls and 3 boys.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah.
Even more.
A lot. And so I told everybody, and they're like, no.
Right. Exactly. It's for some people. It's not for some. So I have a lot of moms too that are like, I don't want to see the video. I don't want to see it. I just give me my capsules. Just give me my pills.
Just give me my pills. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it helps out. So what is Wellness Wednesday?
Oh, Wellness Wednesday. That's a new segment we have. We just started this year, and my team, we have a Spanish translation and an English version that my team puts together. So they'll record topics that range from, IVF, pregnancy, postpartum, just things regarding being a woman that relate to wellness. So there's a variety of different topics we have on the books, but I'm really excited to kind of extend the knowledge of or the scope of knowledge of pregnancy and postpartum specifically, because as much as I've been involved in pregnancy and birth and placentas, there's still so much information out there that people don't know, and that doctors aren't necessarily providing either, or your healthcare
they're not
provider.
trained. They're not trained either.
Exactly.
They don't know the information either. But yeah, and then if they don't know it, it's like it doesn't exist. If if I don't know it, it doesn't exist.
I love that. It's not a real thing.
Yeah. So they're missing some education when it comes to birthing, because it's not so much medical as it is natural,
Right. Like, this is just what happens to your body. I was actually talking to a woman, because we follow up post delivery of the capsules to just check in, see how mom's doing. If she has questions, do we need to talk through dosage? And so we get to connect with them, anywhere from 3 to 6 weeks postpartum. And sometimes they're like, issues with bleeding, or issues with milk, or issues with whatever the case may be. And really having to dive deep with them into the fact that your body has just gone through a huge trauma. As much as we think, giving birth, it's a very natural thing, and we're, our bodies are meant to do it, but it is just innately a trauma to the body. Right. And doctors aren't going through, even at that 6-week visit, it's, it's a checklist. Okay. Are you feeling this? Are you doing this? It's not really like a deep dive into what's happening hormonally, what's happening emotionally, physiologically, So it's great to be able to fuse those connections with them. Like, look at what your placenta has provided, look at what you're going through. So yeah, it's pretty incredible what women haven't been told or don't know about what's happening in their own body. So it's our attempt at spreading a little bit of awareness or education through our online platform.
Yeah. I saw that and I'm like, okay, well, what is it? I got to make sure to ask so that we get the information out to everybody. Can you speak on this? I don't know if you would have experience or if you know about this, but nowadays, when you have a baby, they want to immediately clip off that umbilical cord, and it's backwards, because you should be letting all the blood transfer onto the baby and not cut it or clamp it until it's white, right? So have you seen the difference? Like, do you know when a placenta has been drained of its blood to the baby versus when it's been cut off?
Absolutely. And every time we see a full cord with blood, it's kind of one of those, like, right. It's like disheartening a little bit, because so when they cut the cord prematurely, you can see that the umbilical cord that's left attached to the placenta is kind of more purple tinge. Like, you can see the blood go through the veins. So when we get the placenta and we remove the cord from the placenta, we create this really beautiful keepsake for mom of the cord, and there will be tons of blood that will gush out from the cord, and we'll kind of like squeegee it out to remove whatever is left. And sometimes there are cords that are full of blood, but delayed cord clamping is something that we always recommend, because and I don't know the percentage or the ratio, but it provides so much of the baby's blood content for life just from letting the cord pulse a matter of like 5 extra minutes. Like, it's not even a long time. Like, you don't have to sit there attached for hours. It can just be, anywhere from
minutes. Yeah.
Exactly. It could be 3 minutes. It could be just anything to let that cord finish pulsating. But I think because in a hospital setting, the doctors are very rushed. Everything happens very quickly. They want to get the baby out, cleaned up, stitched up, whatever the case may be. Right. And I'm sure in some cases, if there's emergencies or hemorrhaging or things like that, I can see the incentive to rush things. But for the most part, it's really important to advocate yourself in hospital, or have someone that can advocate for you, even better, like a partner or a doula, so that they can make sure to pay attention to things like that, because you're busy with your baby. You're not thinking about, wait, don't cut the cord. Hold on. You're like, no, like you said, you have this bliss that you're going through, this baby bliss of, here's my prize. Here's my little one. So having someone that can advocate that for you, even if it's a nurse, is really, really important in my opinion. And there's tons of research coming out now that is prompting doctors to do more of that. So you'll see it as a more regular practice versus before it was like, wait, what? You want me to do what?
Yeah. It's like, don't interfere with what I'm doing. I'm trying to help
right.
you. That's how they act. Yeah.
Exactly.
But I do believe it's 30%. It's a third of the baby's blood.
That's what it is.
In the placenta, and they clamp it off. And
right.
It's like, no. Baby needs that blood. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. And, it's funny because that brings up a good point. One of the things that we try to educate our clients about is advocacy. So with placenta encapsulation, it's like you said, when it's not a normal thing like delayed coil clamping or whatever you choose to do as a part of your birth plan, and it's not a regular practice, you do have to come empowered to advocate for yourself and know that I tell mommies, this is your show. We work around you. We, are being employed by you, whether it's, paying through insurance for the hospital stay, for the services of the healthcare provider, whatever the case is. If you, are paying a midwife to deliver your baby, you are running the show and you get to choose what happens to your body and your baby. So it's just really important, I think, to also spread that awareness and empower mommies to feel that way. Because we often feel intimidated or like, oh, I don't know, or we don't know. But at the end of the day, even if it's just asking, even if it's just talking to someone about it, that's your right to do,
Right. Yeah. And I think that is key, is that we got to help people or moms, people, because moms and dads, to be empowered. Like, this is your baby. This is your experience. We're here for you. And the doctor's there, like, we're here for a job. Yeah, I got it. I got what your job is, but you're actually here for me.
Right.
Like, I'm the job. And you're going to listen to what I want. Yeah.
I love that. Yes. I am the job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So very important to help empower people, not just moms, but dads as well, because sometimes dads will be thinking like, well, I got to take the doctor's side because my wife doesn't know what she's thinking. So we need to educate dads too.
Yes. Oh, I love when partners are supportive. Oh, that is some of the most, I'm jealous of those, because the dads are like, either they'll sign up for the mom or they'll call and ask questions, I'm doing this for my partner. And it's incredible when you have support, especially for something that's like, I don't know, maybe he really doesn't think, whatever. It's important to have that support.
So can you just give us a quick rundown, like from beginning to end, what your services are, how you provide them? Obviously, it's, encapsulation. And then you mentioned something about a keepsake.
Yes. So from start to finish, we provide a service that I think is unmatched to any encapsulation company nationwide, because of the advocacy that we provide and just the level of customer service. We have, like I said before, 24/7 staff. So someone's always available for you, which I think is a really, really great thing when it comes to something like this, because it's not easily Googleable. Or
it's not,
it's like, wait, what? So you
don't type it into maps and be like,
right. Exactly. Exactly. So that's a really important part of what we do. But basically, moms will reach out to us. We have a number of different ways to reach out to us, and they'll let us know, hey, this is where I'm delivering. I'd like more information. And we send them we have a basic information template of the process, the benefits, why it's safe, when it's not safe, all of the different kind of scope of questions that you could possibly ask. We include it there, as well as a reservation form. So the reservation form is a super quick and easy form that you can fill out straight from your phone. And once we receive it, we'll reach out to you, and a team member will give you a call to review your order, any questions you have, and solidify that. And there is a deposit that's due in order for us to be on call for you, so that anytime baby arrives, whether it's on your due date or before or after, we are readily available to pick up your placenta whenever you have it. And then from there, we wait for the big day. And once they're in labor, they contact our birth line, And then once they have the placenta, they'll contact us again. And that's when we dispatch a transporter out to come collect it. And once we have it, we label it, we take it back to our facility for storage, or it's processed the same day, depending, like I said, if it's a 3 a.m. pickup, we're not encapsulating at 3 a.m., but, but it is stored for the next day. So the process entails us labeling, like I said, labeling the placenta. It's flash steamed, then it's dehydrated. And between those two processes, there's a few cleaning situations that happen to ensure there's no cross contamination from the original handled placenta and then the steamed or the dehydration portion. And then we use medical grade decontaminants, like I mentioned earlier, food grade sanitizers to disinfect the workspaces, all of the used equipment. Anything that's disposable, we definitely use as a precaution for any of our processes. And then the placenta is ground up and it's placed into capsules. We have a handful of different flavors. So you could literally be taking a bubblegum flavored placenta pill. Who doesn't want that?
How do you incorporate the flavor? Because I didn't have flavor.
So, right. Because most of the capsules are just like a gelatin base,
right.
vegan or a vegan capsule.
Right. Mine was
we've
vegan.
got two options. So we have that vegan option, which is a clear, no flavor. And then we have gelatin capsules. So the gelatin capsules we use are from Capsuline. So it's a company that uses high grade ingredients to create the capsules, but they have different flavors. So there's strawberry. Right now we have strawberry, berry, and I believe bubblegum. Due to the lovely supply chain issues, we're having issues with the other flavors at the moment.
Right. I mean, any flavor would have been great.
Would have been great, right?
Mine was vegan. And after a while, it started to smell a little bit. And I'm like, gosh, it smells.
What did it smell like?
Bad.
Really? Okay. Well, they shouldn't smell bad.
Well,
that's for sure.
She did tell me because it was the vegan pill, eventually it'll start to degrade a little bit and it'll start smelling a bit. So I was on that 8-week program where it's you have to finish by 8 weeks.
Right. Oh, she told you had to finish by 8 weeks?
Right. That's what I was told. Yeah.
Interesting. So for us, we just give you a regimen that typically lasts, again, it depends on your placenta because they're all different sizes. And so they'll yield a different amount of capsules. But if you finish that regimen and you feel great and you feel supported and you're on track, you can save capsules for, the future. In our training, and I haven't experienced this yet, but in our training, it does mention that moms that are going through menopause can actually take some of their capsules or tinctures or things like that to support them there hormonally.
Right.
But
that's why I held on to mine. I'm I'm pretty soon, my family history right around 50. We start going into menopause. So I wanted to hold on to, I'm 41, I'm 46 now. So I want to hold on to my placenta because I'm worried about that too. It's the hormones, menopause.
Love those hormones.
Women, being a woman is so wonderful.
Isn't it?
It is. This is just something I'm going to put up with, but it is.
Well, I love that you have your placenta. I'd be really curious to hear about how that goes because I haven't, like I said, had any clients quite yet go through, menopause, because we've only been in business for 5 years, but, I'm really interested to hear a testimony from that because it just makes sense. It makes so much sense that it would benefit or that you would benefit from it. So I'm curious about that one. But, so anyway, we have the flavored capsule options. And then once it's packaged, the video is compiled for you. And then we have a transporter that hand delivers them. Or if you're outside of a certain area, then we'll ship them back to you as well. So it's a very streamlined, really easy process. We've got tons of different testimonies and Yelp reviews that I always encourage moms to reach out to because you can see firsthand moms talking about the energy, talking about the ease of the process, kind of subsiding any of those hesitations that you might have from women that are actually or have actually gone through it. I think that's a strong component of what we do is making sure that you hear it from people other than us. Obviously, I advocate for it. Obviously, I love it. And so does my team. But hearing it from a random stranger sometimes holds more value. You're like, oh, okay, yes, it really does.
It's
work.
confirmation. It's like,
exactly.
okay, I know what I'm feeling now. They're confirming that this is real. Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. So yeah, it's a very easy process. We do have, so the add-ons that you mentioned. So we have an umbilical cord keepsake, which is probably added to every package that we offer. Moms really love it. It's a beautiful heart-shaped, it's your umbilical cord removed from your placenta, and it's dehydrated into the shape of a heart. And then it's gold dipped for you and put into a really special keepsake box so that, you kind of keep it tucked away, or you can frame it in a shadow box or things like that. But yeah, that's always, moms are like, I'm so touched by the keepsake because it's a way to hold on to that idea of your baby's first home. I don't know if you were the same, but like when the umbilical cord falls off, a lot of moms will save that piece.
Yeah, you keep it.
Right. So this is like a more aesthetically pleasing way of saving it.
True. I mean, yeah, it looks a lot nicer because I do have a little keepsake of the placenta and I'm sorry, the cord. And it was shaped into a heart, and I have it somewhere like stored. I'm like, I want to put it in a shadow box with like one of the baby clothes that she wore coming home, things like that. But yeah, and it's like, this is so much more prettier than that little stub that
the stub.
You kind of have to fish for it and find it and hold it somewhere. Like, what do I do with this? Where do I put it?
Yeah. Later you're like, what was this again? No.
Yeah.
So we offer that, which is our favorite, but then you can actually step that up and a notch. And we have paintings that we offer of the placenta. And I know some people are like, whoa, that's like that's like extreme, but it's actually really, really pretty. I wish I had have done it because you can choose all types of different colors. And the more unique color combos, I think the better. There's also, we do a lot of rainbow prints with moms that are having their rainbow baby. So that's always really special. Nice. But we use a food grade dye to like essentially paint the placenta and then imprint it onto watercolor paper. And then that's what they can frame or, do something with in baby's room or just, as another keepsake. So those are the two upgrades that we do offer.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
That's really nice. Yeah. When you have those keepsakes, I actually got one too, but my girl just did a print. I don't
of the blood print,
just the print. Yeah. Just the blood print, which is also, it was
really beautiful.
Still. Yeah. And it's really nice to have because like you just mentioned, it's like, that's the baby's first home. Like that's what your body did. Like your body is so incredible. This is what it did. And you should, or it's not, I would.
Right. It's a personal thing sometimes.
Yeah, I would want to
like honor that. Right. I feel the same way. Yeah. Right. And exactly. You get people like that. And then you get the others that are like, no, I just give me the pills. I don't even want to look at it.
I don't want, It's just a pill like any other pill. And I don't want to know where it came from.
Just mix it with my other vitamins. It's fine. Yeah. You get a range.
But it's amazing. The benefits are amazing. And I do recommend it to people anybody who's willing to listen to me, I'll recommend it.
I love it. Same.
Well, thank you so much, Samantha. I think that this is a lot of help, a lot of information for people that were maybe even on the fence, maybe didn't even hear about it, maybe heard about it and thought, not for me. And maybe with this information, they'll be more open to consuming your placenta.
Trying something different,
Yeah. If it doesn't work, check it, but it works. Right. It works.
I think it works. Yeah, exactly. It's like you said, and you get one shot at it. It's not like something you can go back to, and so I always say, if you're on the fence about it, do it. That way you have them. And if it's something that you do decide you don't want to, then you just, like you said, you check them.
Yeah. Or like you said, you can hold on to them. It doesn't really expire. You just stick it in the freezer. and it doesn't
Exactly.
expire. So yeah, you can hold on to it for the next baby or the next time you're having hormonal issues, you know? Yeah.
Exactly. I even have moms. I did it myself too, where you can mix a capsule or two in like some coconut oil for baby eczema or
Oh,
things like that. So it's or scarring. Like once C-section scarring has
yeah.
healed to a certain point and it's not an open wound, you can rub some of that on the scarring because you've got all of the stem cells from the amniotic sac inside of that powder, which can help speed up healing and recovery. So
Oh my gosh,
it's incredible.
I never even thought about that, but yeah, that is a great idea. That is a great
so many
idea.
things.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Samantha. Where can our listeners find you? What is your social media?
Yes, absolutely. So you can find our branch, Mommy Made SoCal, at MME_Southern California. And you can also visit our website, www.mommymadeencapsulation.com, for a list of information regarding our founder, shipping options, and all of our various locations nationwide.
Yes. And I'll definitely link everything in the show notes. For sure, I'm going to link everything in the show notes if anybody's interested.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for allowing me to chat about my favorite subject.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for making the time for me. Yes.
Thank you.
Welcome to the Spiritual Lifestyle Podcast, formerly known as Chapters of Motherhood. I'm your host, Veronica Moss, and I've returned with an evolved vision. I'm currently in studio passionately crafting brand new episodes set to officially debut in the spring of 2024. We now focus on promoting spiritual growth in all areas of life, including career, relationships, and mindful parenting. While you're waiting for the new season to kick off, why not revisit some of the classics? We've got your favorite episodes from Chapters of Motherhood lined up for your enjoyment. So sit back, relax, and let the Spiritual Lifestyle Podcast lead you on a journey of self-discovery and growth. Stay tuned. Welcome to your renewed spiritual sanctuary, the Spiritual Lifestyle Podcast.